Familiar faces. Yeah, and some new ones as well. Back to our week two creative money webinar series. If you were here with us last week for our first session, which is creative talent versus commercial success, we welcome you back. And you already know that we already know how good our conversation is basically. And if this is your first time joining us here, you picked up at a perfect week start, basically. So, um, I want to ask a very sincere question to most of us that are here, and I will really like some sincere response as well. So, have you ever been in a situation where you share your brilliant idea in a meeting or a group chat or even with a friend, and a few weeks later, you watched that person run off with your idea and build something on it? Maybe profit from it. So let's get response on the chat box. If you've been in such situations, basically, please just engage. I have. I don't know if you have. So if you have, please just engage. Let me know if you've been in such situations before. I wish this is a safe place, so please let's share. Well, I want to believe that most of us have been. Maybe we're just not so confident to share, But if you've been, trust me, you're not alone, right? It happens to every one of us, basically, brilliant minds like us. Okay, someone has responded. Someone said not directly. I've been in situations where I had an idea but held back. Then a colleague shared the same idea and it was commended. Okay. Oh, someone also said that I had similar experience though. It's not business related, just a lady I was interested in, and my guy cornered me. Chai, sorry. Somebody said personally that would encourage me. Okay. All right, great response. Just know that you're not, whatever the situation is, whether it's personal, business related, you are not alone. It's 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 usually happened with even the best talents of us, basically. Best talents of us. So basically, it happens because most creatives never learn one simple truth. Your idea is your asset. I repeat that again. Your idea is basically your asset. An asset, an asset that aren't protected are assets that are taken. So you should be able to value your idea. And I guess that's why we are here today to learn how to guide and protect our idea that is our asset. So the topic for today is centered around the creative gold mine, the assets most creative ignore. We're talking about how to protect your creative ideas and just as important, how to actually turn, how to actually turn that into that protection into money, basically. So stay with us until the end of it, because we are going to have our host come and give us a brief recap of last week for those people who missed it. And then we'll have our host also introduce our speaker for today, basically. So before we proceed, I know from all of this response there, I can see that we've had guests who came in, or rather attendees who came in for last week's webinar, who has engaged in last week's webinar. So we would also like to get to know not just those who attended last week, but those who are also here with us for the first time. Here at Creating Money Africa, we want to know you, we want to engage with you. So we'd like you to engage with us on our comment section. We'd like you to engage with us on our comment section and just tell us your name, Yes, someone said first time. Tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and what creative field you're in. Then I'll also add one bonus question, basically. Have you ever had an idea that has been borrowed without credits? So just engage on the comment section. Just tell us your name, where you're joining us from, and what's your creative field. What's the creative field you're in? And one bonus question is if you've ever had an idea that has been borrowed or taken without, what that has been borrowed without credit, basically. So let's engage. I've seen someone here that's saying it's the first time here. So please tell us your name. We'd like to know you. We'd like to engage with you, please. Please let's respond. A webinar like this, is always in webinars like this, it's always good to respond so we can hear from each other and l- grow with each other and learn from each other, basically. Okay, we have Dolapo here. It's from Lagos and is a UI UX person. Well, Dolapo, you're welcome to our webinar. I guess it's your first time because I didn't see you here last week. So you're welcome, basically. And we have Adebayo, Oluwafemi, Biakuta Ogo, and is a part-time musical producer. You're welcome. Ayobami, sorry, Ayobami, yeah. You're welcome, Ayobami. I think I got that wrong at first. You're welcome, Ayobami. I guess it's your first time here. I can't remember having you here last week, but you're welcome, and we hope you learn from what we have this week. Yeah, we also have Abdul Quadri. I hope I pronounced that right. He's a digital marketer and a businessman. Welcome, Abdul Quadri. We have Naomi. Yes, she's from Nairobi, Kenya. Wow, welcome. And you're a communications and marketing person. You're welcome, Naomi. We're pleased to have you here. Wow, we have another first time. We have Marvelous from Ibadan. He's a social media manager and AI creator. Marvelous, you're mostly welcome. We have Jeremiah here from Lagos as well. Just graduated from University of Nigeria. I think that's Usuka. Yeah. You're welcome, Jeremiah. You're welcome. Fresh out of school. You're welcome. And we're glad you're here because this is a platform for you. Please let's continue to engage because we want to get to know you, we want to know who we're conversing with. Creative Money has a lot to offer, so you only know when you stick around longer. So we also have Peace from Akwa Ibom State, and the first time, Peace, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. We have Adeyemi as well, Adeyemi Adeleye from Ibadan, and it works in Culture and Tourism Center. Great, welcome, 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 welcome. We have Jaffa or Graffa, sorry, Graffa. Apologies if I pronounce your name wrongly. It's also a first time here as well. So Jaffa, thank you. You're most welcome. You're very most welcome. We're pleased to have you here. So for those who is just sharing about Creative Money Africa, um, basically our goal is to make sure that creatives like yourself you can still drop a comment. I can see it. Yeah, I'm going to Mr. Creative like yourself. We empower them with the right tools and equipment to be able to structure, package, and monetize their talents. So we also have Michael here from Port Harcourt. He's new here. Michael, you're very much welcome. We have Shina from Kefi Nasarawa. Welcome as well. We have Wisdom from Uyo. I'm talented in multiple skills, music, movie, sports, security, amongst others. Wow, great. So you see, this is a platform for networking as well. You meet people and you get to engage. So I was talking, getting to introduce our first timers and also those who have been with us for a while about Creating Money Africa. I told you that our platform helps creatives like yourselves to be able to structure, package, and monetize their creative skills. So we've been in existence for a while, and we've been able to create resources and materials that can help you grow But the conversation just don't end in this webinar. Basically, you can check us on our social media handles, our Instagram at Creative Money Official, our TikTok at Creative Money Official as well. You can also check us on LinkedIn at Creative Money Africa and on YouTube where we have amazing podcasts, for your views, for you to learn, for you to get encouraged and learn from people's success story. We've had celebrities, we've had guests on that platform. We've had I don't know if you've heard of this guy called Buchi that acted to kill a monkey. We got the opportunity to interview Buchi's manager, Mr. Denny, and he shared a lot of insightful things about talent management. So you need to go to our YouTube, watch our podcast, learn, and give us feedback on our community. So creating money as well. We're not just stopping, you from our YouTube. We're saying, come onto us, to our community and learn more because we have value waiting for you in our community. So for today's webinar, for those who will join our community in today's after today's webinar or during the webinar, we have an incentive for you. So we created an amazing ebook titled Protect Your Genius. It's a practical guide to guiding and monetizing your creative idea. It's a short practical guide that walks you through exactly what you already own, a 10 minute habit to prove ownership, how to pitch without giving your idea away for free, and 6 real ways to turn what you protect into income. So while you're listening to us today, go ahead and join our community. The link will be shared on um, on the chat there. You can quickly join the community to get this ebook for free. This is what people will pay millions of naira for. For you, Creative Money is offering you that ebook for free of charge. So let me also, I saw some people here who came in for the first time that I didn't get to acknowledge. And let me just do that before we move on to the next agenda in this meeting. So we have Michael from Port Harcourt. It's New Year. Michael, you're welcome. We have Wisdom Anthony from Uyo as well. So Wisdom Anthony, you're welcome again. So now moving on. It's my honor to introduce you to our founder of Creative Money Africa, the man behind every movement. He is a brand specialist, an entrepreneur with almost 2 decades of experience helping organizations and now creatives like yourself turn talent into sustainable value. Through Creative Money, is building a platform where creative across music, fashion, film, photography, design, writing, and many more connect and learn, connect, and then turn their geniuses into real income. So he's going to walk us through a quick recap of last week for those who missed it, for those who are first timers here. And that's the topic. I'll just say it for those who did not come on time to hear the topic for last week. It was about creative talent and commercial success. So he's going to brief us a quick recap of what we learned about for last week, and then he's also going to introduce our guest speaker. So the man I am honoring today, or we are here because of him today, is none other but our very own founder and owner and host of Creating Money Africa, Mr. Ekedeme Ufot. We call him from home Dempsey. Sir, you're welcome. Let's give him a very big round of applause, please. Let's fill up the chat with the emoji, with the clap emoji, please. Thank you. Let's engage. Thank you very much. My boss, over to you, sir. Thank you. My boss, over to you, sir. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Sonia, for the warm introduction. And I'd like to welcome everyone to today's session. I thank you for making our time to be here. And then, if you were with us last week, thank you. I can see some faces from last week's engagement. So last week was pretty much the inaugural webinar where I pretty much shared 18 lessons that I've learned from 18 years in advertising. So that was the first in a series of 12. So we intend to have 12 webinars and then the official unveiling of Creative Money Africa in September. So just a quick recap before I introduce our guest speaker for this evening session. Like I mentioned earlier, last week's session was pretty much lessons I've learned from my 18 years in advertising. I think one of the things that stood out from feedback for everyone was the fact that we have now understood that talent is just the entry point as a creative, right? It opens doors, opens opportunities, but there's a lot more. You know, there are things we talked about like personal branding, thinking or creating like an artist and thinking like a businessman, pricing, presentation skills, and all that. We also touched on intellectual property, but I had mentioned that this week we'll have a specialist who will add more color and some more depth, to the idea of intellectual property. Because one of the things that a lot of creatives miss out on is sometimes we just like to create, right? But then we do not protect what we create. And I asked the question last week, why create if you won't protect it? Now, years past, intellectual property wasn't something that people paid attention to, particularly in this part of the world. But it's something that a lot of creatives have made generational wealth from, licensing and all that stuff. One of the things, like I mentioned last week, and I want to reiterate it, this is not a motivational series, it's about practical skills. One of the things we've done is to get people who understand certain topics in depth, to come in and speak to us. I mean, obviously, I can speak about IP, but the truth is that I can't speak about it with as much depth and understanding as our speaker for tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you someone who I've known for a while. I mean, obviously, in the course of, she's passionate about protecting creative ideas and all that. And we've, worked together a couple of times. And I am very certain that she's going to bring great value to tonight's session. She's a lawyer, an IP specialist, educator, consultant, which means that if you want to take your IP seriously, she's someone you want to speak to, after tonight's or this evening's session. Please, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Amusa Shukurat to today's webinar. It's great to have you, and based on discussions we've had, I look forward to a very insightful session. Like I mentioned to you offline earlier, I've got my jotter and pen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to crave your indulgence. Please, let's welcome Mrs. Um, Shukurat Amosa this evening.
Hi, Mr.
Thank you very
Okot.
much.
Can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
All right. Thank you for the invitation. Apologies, I won't be putting on my camera because the network is kind of bad because of the rain. So let me just indulge me, please. So you'll be sharing
Right.
the slide, right? You'll be sharing the slide from your side, or do you want me to
Okay, I
share
can
this?
share from here, or you can share from. So I mean, so the flow is not disrupted.
Okay, okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fine.
you can tell, yeah.
All right, so thank you once again for the introduction. And I think I would just like to correct one thing that people actually think is always the same or is always right. Actually, I'm not a lawyer, for the records. However, because of people seem to see intellectual property as an aspect of law, they believe everybody that is into intellectual property is actually a lawyer. So this is to say that you don't have to be a lawyer before you can delve into intellectual property. And lawyers are not the only one that are into IP. In fact, most times the lawyers don't have the depth knowledge of IP. So you look at IP consultants or IP lawyers. Now, IP lawyer is different from a general land lawyer. Imagine you are looking at protecting your creativity, then you are going to a lawyer that is selling land, right? So you want to be very specific on whatever it is you are doing. So that said, I'll proceed to share my screen, and we'll be talking about intellectual property, like the creative gold mine. How does IP affect you as a creator? So just give me a few seconds. Let me share my screen. Can you confirm if you can see my screen, please?
Yes, I can.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So the creative gold mine, how to protect and monetize your ideas. So last week, I'm very sure Mr. Ufot took a session, and from the introduction, I can see majority of us here are creatives. So aside creating, are we just creating for creating sake? Aside creating, how are we actually making money and monetizing or protecting that idea? So it's not just about, oh, I'm a creator, I'm just creating on vibes. And at the end of the day, you realize that somebody that can just pick up your idea and claim take it as theirs because you haven't protected it. So that's what we'll be discussing today. And the first thing we'll be looking at is who exactly is a creator. That's the first question because we're looking at the creative gold mine. Who is a creator? For you to say you are a creator, exactly are you? So a creator is anyone who produces original, take cognizance of that word, original content, ideas, designs, or innovation, including content creators, influencers, writers, musicians, artists, designers, photographers, podcasters, software developers, educators, trainers. They are all creators. Why? Because we are creating or we are producing original content. Now, no matter the industry you're coming from, as long as what you are creating is original, you are seen as a creator. And because of you are creating something original, then it is relevant, it is important for you to actually protect whatever it is you are creating. Because if you are creating original content, then it means it belongs to you. So why not protect it, right? Then we'll look at understanding assets. We need to also see our creativity as our asset. What is an asset? An asset is anything of value, right? Of value that can generate income, growth, or competitive advantage. And in this age, we can see that content creators, in fact, creators generally are doing very well and they're actually creating value. So if you are creating value, then why do you just leave your value unprotected? Just like the saying will say, will you build a house on a land that is not yours? That's not possible. So why will you create an idea? Why will you have an idea and not protect it? So when we're looking at assets, we have physical assets, financial assets, and we have intellectual assets. The physical asset like equipment, building inventories, financial assets, cash, investment, then your intellectual assets, which is what we are discussing today. Just like you are going to protect your physical assets. You won't drop your phone wherever you are charging it and you just go without looking at it. Same way you won't leave your house without locking the door. Even after locking the door, you still put security guard to watch over your house. So why would you just leave your idea on internet anywhere just like that without protecting it? So for creators, intellectual assets are often your most valuable assets. And we need to take note of that. What then is intellectual property? Basically, it's just a creation of human mind that is legally protected and can be commercialized. Intellectual property is the creation of human mind. Whatever it is you are creating that is original to you, which is legally protected and can be commercialized. So whatever it is you are creating from your mind is original to you. You are not copying and pasting. You're not copying from anybody. Yes, you can be inspired from somebody else's work, but not this inspiration these days that looks like exactly copying. When you are inspired by somebody's work, people should still be able to see the trace of originality in your work. So that's where originality comes from. So how do you protect this intellectual property? As a creator, you are allowed to, or as a creator, IP allows you to control how people use your work. When you have protection over your work, then people can't use it without your permission. And if they do, you can you can charge them to court or find a way to go around it, find a way to settle it. It also helps you to protect unauthorized exploitation. That is, people cannot exploit your work without your permission. Generate revenue. It helps you to generate revenue. It builds long-term wealth. When you have your IP protected, it is your IP that will be working for you. You don't even have to do so much stress as long as it's protected. And like I said, value is very important. If what you are creating is not valuable, then your IP will be a liability instead of an asset. So we need to take note of two things now that I've mentioned. The first thing is originality, and the second thing is value. If what you have created is not original and is not valuable, nobody will look for you. People only look for something that is valuable. If you don't have value, nobody will want to do market with you. So make sure that whatever it is you are creating as a creator, first and first is original to you. Because once it's original to you, that's when you can claim right to it. Second thing, you claiming right to it but doesn't have value. It means you won't be able to make money or commercialize that idea. So your idea must have value. Once it have value, then you'll be able to do what? Generate revenue and build long-term wealth. So what this means is that IP you transformed your creativity into an asset. Now, why does IP matter to creators? Just like Mr. Ufo said, the creative economy is $1 billion. In fact, it's more than $1 billion economy right now. And I think last year we had the Ministry of Art, Culture, and Tourism um, create a creative economy policy, and we also had the NIPS, that's the National Intellectual Property Policy Strategy, signed, and we have that as well. And that's actually basically built for the creative economy. So what does IP matter to you as a creative? It helps you to own ownership, protection, monetization, and also build your business growth. Without IP, your content can be copied freely, brands can be imitated, your innovation can be exploited by others, and your revenue opportunities are lost. But with IP, your ownership is established. Your rights are protected, your value can be commercialized, and your business can scale sustainably. So this is why you need to understand the protection of your IP. If you don't understand it, you will not see any reason to protect. That's why you don't force people to protect. When you force people to protect, though, it's as if you are stressing them. But when you understand the reason why you need to protect, then you'll be the one running after the person that will help you to do the protection. So you need to understand why. Why exactly do I need to protect my IP? If you don't understand why, then you won't even be able to know how to commercialize it in the first place. So, what types of IP is relevant to you as creators? Now, IP is very broad. We have different categories of IP. But for this discussion, we are going to touch on copyright, trademark, patent, industrial design, trade secrets, publicity rights, domain name, briefly. Now, I'm not teaching you what copyright or trademark or patent or industrial design is. I'm teaching you how relevant it is to the creative economy. This class is not to teach you what exactly they are or highlight, oh, this is this and that. But we are going to look at how does each one of these, yeah, how important is it to the creative economy. Now, let's look at copyright. I like to call copyright the creator's friend, or like my professor friend will say, she will say copyright is the Cinderella of the creative economy. And why is that? Because copyright is very broad. It has different bundle of rights. And what exactly is copyright? It is that type of intellectual property that protects original. Can you see original is coming back? It protects original work of authorship fixed in a medium. Now, it does not say copyright protect ideas in your head. No, it protects original work of authorship fixed in a medium. This is to say that your idea has to be original and it has to be fixed. Okay, so if you see if I ask you to draw an image of maybe a sunset in the evening, every one of us can see the image of it, can say, okay, this is how it's going to look like. But the way we are going to express ourselves is different. So what we are protecting now is the expression of the idea, not the idea itself. So if I say, give a brief summary of what was treated during the last class, majority attended. Majority have an idea of what Mr. Alford taught at the last class. But the way we are going to couch our words, the way we are going to couch our sentence is going to differ from one person to another. But we are still talking about the same idea. It is that expression now that is protected because that expression is your own original expression. And what are you doing? You are writing that expression out. You are fixing it in a medium. Now, fixing in a medium could be writing in a book, could be putting in a disk drive, could be putting on a flash drive, could be putting on internet, as long as you are putting it in a place that it can be duplicated. That is you fixing it in a medium. So there are two criteria when it comes to copyright. The first thing is originality, and the second is fixation. There has to be original, it has to be fixed. If it's not original and it's fixed, no copyright. If it's original and it's not fixed, no copyright. So these two has to exist before you can say you have this particular expression of idea protected. Like I said, copyright is not protecting your idea. It is protecting the expression of idea. And there's this example I always like to use. If you look at the creative industry, especially when it comes to all these should I say, is it auditions? I don't know if it's auditions, I'll call it, but these programs like Big Brother Naija, Motina Dance, or America Got Talent. We had one that was done by there's this one Bisola is doing, I think it's Family Feud or something like that. We realize that majority of these programs, they have the same mission. The mission is to bring people together. At the end of the day, the best person wins, and they give the person a gift, probably the first, second, third. But how are they doing this program? It differs. If you look at Martina Dance Hall, for example, yes, people come, they gather. It's not dance hall. You dance. At a point you bring your family also dances, then you win. If we look at this one that Timi Dakolo is in, I can't remember the name now. You also come there, you sing. At the end of the day, the winner wins. Big Brother Naija, how do they do their own? It's still the same idea, but different expression. In this case, everybody are in a closed environment. Nobody have access to the audience. You answer questions, you do different games, you talk to Big Brother. At the end of the day, somebody wins, right? The same thing with the family food. You come together, you bring five people from a family, you answer question. The survey has already been answered by people. If your answer is in line with what the survey has answered, you get your point. At the end of the day, people win something. But how are they doing it? That is what differs. And that is what is protected. The expression of that idea, not the idea itself. So what then does copyright protect? Video, blog post, books, music, podcast, photograph, artwork, online courses, websites. Now, all of these have their own classification. Copyright protects six different categories. Now, the first thing first is artistic work. Artistic work is things that you are drawing, sculptures, artwork, that's artistic work. Literary work, anything that has to do with writing, novel, textbook, movie scripts, that's literary work. Musical work, your music. Sound recording, the sounds behind the music. Broadcast, all these broadcasts that we see, they are protected. And the last thing that copyright protect is audiovisual works. So if your work falls under these six categories, then it means you can get copyright protection for your work. I'm going to come again. Copyright protects six broad categories: literary work, artistic work, musical work, sound recording, audiovisual, and broadcast. So if you look at this list here, videos, under what does video fall under? It could fall under musical work, and it could fall under audiovisual work. Even sound recording, maybe. Blog post, literary work. Books, literary work. Music, musical work. Podcast, it could fall under audiovisual work, sound recording, or music or musical work, depending on the characteristics of it. Photograph, majorly artistic work. Artwork, artistic work. Online courses, literary work, website literary work, because for websites, no, website content, the content is literary work. For the website itself, it's also literary work because websites are majorly built by binary numbers, which is zeros and ones. So those zeros and one are referred under literary work. So this is why most times computer softwares are protected as copyright, not as patents. We'll get to that aspect. So what are the benefits for you as a copyright holder? The first thing first is exclusive rights. You have the exclusive right to produce, to reproduce, to distribute, to perform, to adapt, to license. All of these rights belongs to you, and nobody can do it without your permission. I would also like to say that when it comes to copyright, as long as your work is original to you and it is fixed in a medium, you have automatic protection over your copyright. I'm going to say this again. Your copyright has automatic protection the moment your work is fixed and it is original to you. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't protect any categories of this work. You can, because sometimes if you have cases of infringement, it is your copyright certificate that can actually prove your ownership. And we really don't call copyright registration of rights because you don't register copyright because you already have automatic protection. We usually call it notification. So you notify the Nigerian Copyright Commission so that they can give you, I say, okay, this is my work. I want to protect it. Then they give you a certificate for that work. That doesn't mean they are telling you that this work is original to you because when you get to, if somebody else says your work look like theirs or you copy their work, you still have to go to court, tender your certificate, they look at it, look at how closely related the work is, they now determine who exactly copied who. But that's what you just need to know about copyright. Originality, fixation, if you don't have that, no copyright. Copyright protects 6 categories of work, which examples are listed here. These are the benefits, and you don't need to register it. It's not compulsory. It's necessary, but not compulsory. Then we'll look at trademark. What then is trademark? Trademark basically protects your brand. What is your brand? Any mark that identifies and distinguish you in the market. It could be your name, it could be your logo, it could be your slogan, it could be your picture, it could be anything. I'll give an example. If I say, we don't do that here, is that familiar to anybody? Is there anybody you know that says that word? We don't do that here. So that's an example of is a brand that can be protected because when you hear that, one person comes to your mind, and that's Eric, right? If anybody is a follower of Eric, when he mentioned that, you know that's from Eric. When you look at some other people's Mr. Macaroni, when he says you are doing well, what comes to your mind first is not you are doing well in the radiance of you are doing well. What comes to mind is Mr. Macaroni. And these are examples of brands. Your trademark could protect your brand name, your logo, your slogan, your product name, your service name. Example, we have Intel, I'm loving it, Nokia, Apple, and we have different type of categories of things that can be protected as a trademark. It could be your name, your slogan, your sound, like this Nokia now. Whenever you pick a Nokia phone, the first thing you hear is that sound. And before you know it, you see two ants joining together, and below it, you're going to see connecting people. So once you hear that sound, everybody knows it's Nokia. The same thing when you carry a Nokia 3310, you know that sound. If you carry a Samsung, the old Samsung, you know how they are. If you see any Apple that is beating on the left hand side instead of the right hand side, then you know this is not iPhone, this is J phone, right? So all of these things, once you see them, you know what they are, you know what they identify. You don't need to know the owner or the person behind the brand, but once you see the name, you see the color, you see the logo, you already know, oh, this is for this person. So that's what branding does for you. And for creators, what can you protect? Yes, your channel name, your podcast name, your business name, your personal brand, your slogan, just like this picture now. Whenever you see this picture, there's no name, but you know it's Sabino's, right? And there was this issue between Sabino's and these people producing Gala and pick milk one time like that. So all of these things shows how your brand or how protecting your brand can actually give you value. And there was also a time when I think it was Ronaldo, he had this interview, and during the interview, he was offered Coca-Cola, and instead of Coca-Cola, it took water. I don't know if anybody watched that interview at that time. At that period, Coca-Cola stock just went down. Why? Because of um the status of Ronaldo at that time. For him, taking water makes sense than taking Coca-Cola. So these fans believe, oh, if Ronaldo is doing this, then let's also take water. And so because the stock of Coca-Cola went down, it's more like it promoted water instead of promoting Coca-Cola. And we saw the outcome at the end of the day. So your brand is a very strong aspect of your of who you are, of whatever it is you are building. And so it is valuable yourself, not just your content. Your brand is also valuable to you as a creator or as a creative. Then we'll move to patents and innovation. Even though this doesn't really relate to creativity or creators, but it does one way or the other, because we can see innovators who are also creators. Say, for example, you're a content creator and you realize that the mic you always use for your content doesn't come out the way you want. Then you go ahead to go and do some research and you finally find a way to create something, innovate something that is more better than that mic, or that works differently, or that does something exceptional than what your mic is doing. You can go ahead to protect it under patent, and that gives you a protection for that as well. So what do I say a patent is? Is an exclusive right granted for an invention. It could be an invention that provides a new way of doing something, or is solving a technical solution to a problem. And we have examples here. We have a wireless microphone and a wired microphone. Back then, we used to use wired microphone. These days, in fact, we don't even use this wireless microphone like before. People now have even the smaller ones that you just clip to your clothes, right? Innovation keeps developing every day and hours. Well, if you look at these two images, you see the difference. The wired microphone is actually solving a problem that is the wireless microphone is solving a problem that this wired microphone cannot solve. If you look at the wired microphone, there are so many limitations to it. Why? You can't, once you hold the wire has a limit. Once you extend how long the wire can go, then it can't go any further. But the wireless microphone, you can carry it anywhere with you. It doesn't need wire. You don't need to plug it like with a wire. You just need to probably charge it or something. You can travel with it. You don't need so many things to go along with you. So these are things that you look at whenever you are solving a problem. Is your problem, is it now? This is where value also comes in. If the thing you are innovating does not have value, nobody will look for it. That's another thing. If you are innovating something that people don't need, nobody is going to look for it, and that innovation becomes a liability instead of it becoming an asset for you. So for patents, it's protected for 20 years, and after 20 years, it goes to the public domain and anybody can use it. A very common example I like to use is the ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen is what we call big biro. So if you are old school like myself, those of us that use big biro in those days, I'm sure Mr. Efforts should be one of us. So there used to be big biro, right? Then later on there was Eleganza, then now there's Lucky Coral, and so on and so forth. If you look at big biro, there's a way big biro is. It has this very deep color, and there's a way it flows whenever you are writing. Back in the days when our parents used to write letters and all, there was no ballpoint pen. What they do is they dip feather in ink to write. Now, what problem is do we have with this feather and ink? Number one, you can't probably travel seamlessly with the feather and the ink. It's likely the ink smears or the ink pours. The feather is ruffled, or when you write with it, you have to wait a bit for the paper to dry, because when you try to close it or fold it, everything comes together and it becomes messy. And so the brothers who created the ballpoint pen said, what exactly can we do to improve this innovation? Then we had so many inventors, did different things, but it wasn't perfect enough. And these big brothers come up with, okay, fine, let's find a way to put ink in a tube, find a way to put like a tip that we can use to write, and put all of this in a case with a end cover in front and end cover in back that you can travel seamlessly with. And that was how the big brother came up with the ballpoint pen. And the problem they were solving is seamlessly. You can carry your biro anywhere. It might not, it is not likely to pour, or no, except if you handle it roughly. So that's an example. And then after on, we saw eleganza came up. Now, Eleganza came up with that invention using the same process Bic was using. And because Eleganza didn't get that permission from Bic, remember I told you one of the benefits is that it stopped unauthorized use, right? So because Bic didn't give Eleganza that permission, to produce or to manufacture that their biro, they had to stop Eleganza from using it. They gave them the opportunity to license, but they were not ready to license. And as such, big step, Eleganza stepped back. We stopped seeing Eleganza in the markets. And later on, after 20 years, when big patent expired, we now started seeing Lucky Coral, Coral Lucky, it's the same biro. It's just color difference and different name, right? But you see that along the line, Bic also came up with this particular pen that you can change the color. Instead of you buying about 6 or 5 different pen, all you have to do is buy one pen and change from red to blue to green to yellow to black. I don't know if any of us use that pen here. I don't know if we are all Gen Z on this call, but if you did, you will understand what I'm talking about, and that's innovation for you, right? But let's not assume Bic never patented their invention. It means everybody would have been able to use that invention and make money from it, and Bic themselves might not even be able to get back the money or the investment they put into that invention. So that's that for patents. Okay, this is another example. What does patent protect? New inventions, technical solution, novel processes is relevant for tech creators, developers, startup, creative entrepreneurs. So we might relate more to this because these days everybody has AirPod, right? So this is an example of an AirPod. And there are these AirPod that the moment you use your hand to just tap it by the side, it stops. The moment you tap it again, it continues playing, right? So that's an invention. And this is an image of how patent works, right? An inventor gets 20 years exclusivity from government, and in return, you have to disclose the details of your invention. That's it for patent. Then we'll move to industrial design. For industrial design, it's basically visual appearance. Oh, I like this car. It has big bum bum. It has small bum bum. It has small mirror. It's sleek. Everything is designed. If you put the engine of maybe a BMW into an Acura or something, it's likely going to work, right? The only thing we are buying is the design. How beautiful is it? How sleek it is? How bent is it? How round is it? That's what industrial design protects. And this is where we talk about packaging. Everybody knows about packaging, package well way. So this is basically packaging. Industrial design protects your visual appearance. It has nothing to do about the brand name. It has nothing to do with the invention. It's just packaging. Once I see it, oh, this is very beautiful. It attracts you. Because of it's attractive, you also want to know, okay, what is this? What does it entail? Oh, let me buy it. Then you take it home and you experience it. Now, if it's a good product, then you become a customer, you keep buying. But if it's a bad product, then you don't buy again. It means the design attracted you, but the content of the design could not even keep you. But if it's a good product, the design attracted you first before the content did. So that's where design comes in. And what does it protect? Product appearance, packaging, shapes, pattern, visual aesthetics. And a very good example is this bottle we have here. Can anybody tell me what this bottle looks like? Anyone? So this is a Coca-Cola bottle. You know that figure eight bottle. This is exactly what it looks like. And like you see here, it started in, sorry, 1990, 1915 to 1923 to 1937. It goes like that. And the bottle we have now, we have that very figure eight Coca-Cola bottle shape. And you realize that, or have you ever realized that there's no other bottling or like a fizzy drink that uses that particular shape of Coca-Cola bottle? And the reason is because that particular bottle is protected. Is protected either as a trademark or as industrial design, because both trademark and industrial design protect shapes. So nobody has the right to use that bottle without Coca-Cola's permission because it has been protected. Now let's imagine a scenario whereby this Coca-Cola bottle is not protected. What does this mean? It means every other fizzy drink or bottling company will be able to use this Coca-Cola bottle, and we won't be able to distinguish A from B. What Coca-Cola bottle has been able to do is, even without the name Coca-Cola, just the shape of the bottle alone tells you this is Coca-Cola. Now imagine when you had the trademark, the trade secrets, the copyrights, and so on and so forth. So that's what industrial design does. Product packaging, fashion items, merchandise design, and so on. Then we look at your portfolio as a creative or as a creator. The creator asset portfolio. What does your creative portfolio entail? If you say you are a creator, can you boast of having about three IPs in your portfolio? As a creator, you should understand that your portfolio is your asset. If you need anybody to invest in what you are doing, the first question they're going to ask you is your IP. What IP do you have? What do you own? Is your IP protected? Is your idea protected? Do you have right to this? Do you have certificate to show us? And so, say for example, you are a YouTuber, then what should be in your portfolio? First thing first, you have copyright for your videos. You should have a trademark for your channel name. You should have a trademark for your logo. If you teach courses, you should have a copyright for your course material. If you do, you have product that you merchandise, you should have industrial design rights for it or probably trademark, depending on what exactly it is. If you have a mobile app, you should have copyright or potentially patent. Because like I said, at not all times does patent protect software. But in some cases whereby they're actually innovative, then patents can come in. So as a creator, you can own multiple IP assets. You don't have to have copyright alone or have trademark alone. You can have copyright, trademark, trade secrets. You can have all of this. And also, I mentioned trade secrets. So let's just quickly touch on it. Trade secret is that type of IP that protects confidentiality. Another example is Coca-Cola. I'm sure majority of us here know that we don't have Coca-Cola company. Like we don't have a Coca-Cola company in Nigeria. What we have is a bottling company. And what do? Coca-Cola send their recipe to different countries, and the countries now mix that recipe with a selected or a designated amount of water to become Coca-Cola. It is not made here. They just send the recipe. And that's why you see that Coca-Cola in Nigeria might taste slightly watery compared to whatever you taste in other country. It's just the ratio of the water and the recipe that was sent down. So this is tell you that Coca-Cola recipe is protected as a trade secret, not as a trademark, not as patent, not as copyright, but as a trade secret because it is confidential information. So anything that is confidential to you and you feel like, oh, this thing is very important. If I tell this person might disclose it. And at the end of the day, I might not have any protection over it. It's better for you to keep quiet. But then when your business is growing, how then do you visit your business, or how do you run your business when you are the only one that has access to the secrets? This is why it is important for you to introduce contracts, non-disclosure clauses, and so on and so forth to be able to protect you in that business. Let's assume Coca-Cola had patented their trade secrets. What this means is that after 20 years of protection, they would have lost rights to that trade secret, and everybody will now have access to the Coca-Cola trade secrets. But what did they do? They decided to opt for trade secret instead of patent, because trade secrets, as long as you are able to keep secret or find a way to protect it very well, it can last for hundreds or thousands of years. And so that's trade secret for you. With respect to public image rights, sometimes as a creator or as an influencer, right, your image also is an IP, because people are able to sell markets or get more merchandise or sales because it is your image on it. So that is where image rights comes in. So let's look at monetizing intellectual property. How do you monetize your IP? Basically, turning your IP into revenue. It could be by advertising revenue. Now, when you see some advertisement, the reason why you are probably going to buy the product might not be because of the product, maybe because of the brand. Oh, this shoe is from Coca-Cola. Okay, it will look nice. Why? Because it's Coca-Cola, not because of you've not because of the quality of the product, but because of it's from Coca-Cola or it's from Nike, it's from Adidas, you buy it. But if it's just a regular brand, you might have your thoughts on it and not decide to and not proceed to buy it, right? Also, licensing agreement, it helps you to be able to put the right figure to your IP. Sponsorship, because of you have your trademark registered, you are able to put your brand in other brands to be able to get more visibility and all. You are also able to get royalties from your IP when you are licensing or commercializing. Franchising, the same thing, merchandising, publishing deals, cost sales, brand collaboration. But when you don't have your IP protected, you won't be able to make money from all these means. So the more protected your IP is, the easier it becomes for you to actually monetize it. Because again, you can't monetize what you don't protect. You can't protect what you don't own. So when you don't own it, how then do you want to make money from it? You can only make money from what is yours. And being yours means that you have to protect it. Looking at social media and IP. Who owns content on social media? That's one question we need to ask ourselves. Is it the creator or the platform? And most times, we really don't read these agreements on this platform. And as such, majority of this platform own rights to your content these days, and that's why they can repurpose it for something else, and you actually can't sue them or do anything because you had signed that agreement before you started using the platform. So we need to understand how this this thing works on social media, and also what happens when your social media page is taken down. What happens to all your videos, everything that you've posted, your content? So this is why IP is important. If you have them protected, then you won't have much of an issue. So yeah, creator retain or ownership of original content. However, some platform receive certain usage rights under their terms, which you agreed to before jumping on the platform. So what should you do as a creator? You should read the platform terms, you keep original files, watermark where appropriate, and also register valuable work where possible, like your trademark, your patents, your industrial design, your copyright in some cases, yes, can be protected. Also, from content creator to intellectual property owner, what exactly can you own? As a content creator, what do you do? A creator starts with videos, educational videos, personal branding. But over time, that's your educational video. It becomes a copyrighted content. Do your personal brand. Over time, it becomes a trademark brand. Your books, your write-up becomes maybe an online course or an ebook that you can merchandise, you can license. But when you don't protect the initial videos itself, when you don't protect the name that people call your brand, or the name that you call yourself on social media, you won't be able to have that right to be able to sue anyone who is using it. So all these things that you've created over time, they become a brand name, they become an online course, they become an ebook that you can do what you can merchandise and you can license as content. So what does this mean? This means that a sustainable business is built on intellectual property assets, not just you being a creator. A creator without IP protection is just working for somebody else. I pray God will not allow us to work for somebody else. So if you are a creator, you need to put this into perspective. What exactly are you doing as a creator? Are you just doing it for doing sake? But if you are doing it to create that value, then you need to protect it before it gets too late. Common mistakes that creators make, yes, not documenting your ownership, using copyrighted content without permission. And this one is very rampant. We believe that because, oh, the content is out there, then it's free for you to use. No, it's not free for you to use. The fact that it's out there does not make it free. And the same way you think that people's video is out there is free, is the same way people will also think that, oh, this video is also out there for them to use. But when you look at all of these things and you put your IP in place, nobody can use your work without your permission. So when they use your copyrighted content, you can actually use take down orders on social media, or you decided to reach out to them, find a way to negotiate, they pay you licensing fee, or you sue them to court if they don't want to budge. Also, delaying trademark registration. You think that, oh, my brand is still very small. I don't need to protect my trademark until my brand is big. That's a lie. People are watching. And before you know it, cyber squatters will go ahead to register your brand. And when you are now ready to register, they will ask you to pay times 10 of the money. Sharing your inventions before seeking protection. You should protect before you share. Ignoring contacts and contracts and licensing terms is very important, especially in the music industries. We see how the labels and their music and their artists fight these days, and how songs are being taken down on Spotify and the like. So also assuming that your social media platform protect ownership. That's a big lie. Your social media platform, your LinkedIn name, your Facebook name, your Instagram name doesn't give you any ownership. It is only trademark that gives you ownership. So until you trademark that name, your brand name, your logo, your tagline, until you trademark, even your CAC doesn't give you ownership. So it is only trademark. And if you don't trademark it, it means you don't own it. Trademark is the only thing that gives you ownership. So take away from this lesson, first thing first, creativity creates value. Intellectual property protects the value. Protection enables you to monetize it. And monetization does what? It builds wealth. So every creator is what? Is an IP owner. I'm going to conclude here by saying, or by giving you this food for thought. If today your content disappears on social media, what valuable assets would remain? So don't just create, you own, you protect, and you monetize. Thank you for listening. I'm going to hand over to the moderator and receive your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If I make just come in now, thank you very much, Mr. Musa. I must say I'm not surprised at the depth of what I've listened to tonight, and I'm sure the audience will also agree with that. But I think you've even gone far beyond. There are things I've learned. I wasn't joking when I said I was going to jot things down. I would like to extract a commitment from you that you will be back because there are things I would like you to dive further into. For example, the trade secrets, trademark. Just going a bit deeper. You know, but thank you very much. Before I open I'll hand over to Sadiq to coordinate the Q&A. I saw an interesting question in the comments that I would like you to address quickly. Someone, I think it was Mr. Adeyemi Adeleye, who said an interest in a lady, and then his guy went to corner the babe. Is there copyright protection in that kind of situation? How should he go about it? Thank you very much again,
Well,
Mr. Musa.
the first question I'm going to ask you is, did you put ownership on it? Like your ring. Ring is just like a form of ownership. If you don't put a ring on it, that means you don't have ownership to it. So that would be the question, response to your question.
All right, Mr. Ademi, are you okay with the response? Are you here? All right, thank you very much. Over to you. Okay, yes, okay, he's responded. Over to you, Sadiq. Thank you very much.
Okay. I must say that is a very, very, very insightful, very, very like impactful topic. And I hope and I know, I want to believe that every one of us here learn 18 or two, which we can actually apply to our businesses moving forward. I believe like how we all look at our creations, let me say creations, henceforth is going to be different now. Like it's going to be more so. So now we are at the question and answer session. So if you have a question, please kindly like use the hand raising feature. So you'll be allowed to mute your mic and ask your question while our guests for today answer them one by one. So kindly do that.
Sorry, before the questions, if I may come in, is an ongoing community, so I will crave Mrs. Amusa's indulgence if she can join our community. So, I mean, if you have questions, obviously because of time, all questions can't be answered. But if there are questions that come after, she'll be able to respond to it. And then don't just take her ideas. You can feel free to contact her and then let her walk you through the process of protecting and monetizing your idea. Thank you. So Q&A, please.
Okay. So we are expecting your questions, please.
I think they can also use the comment section if they are not able
Yes,
to,
yes.
probably ask.
You can send in your questions in the comment section also. We can also see that. So raise up your hand or ask in the comment section. Okay, there's a question. Can you hear me, please? I'm going to read it out to you.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Um, a lady who goes by the name Naomi is asking a question. She said, I'm working at an agency. In my contract, I signed papers that said work I do for the client belongs to the company. So when it comes to IP, does it only apply to freelancing?
So it does not only apply to freelancing. IP applies to everything we do. Whatever it is we do today, there's an IP aspect to it. So you say that you are working for an agency. Now you are working for an agency are you working for them as an employee, or are you working for them as an individual creator or a freelancer? Okay, yes, as an employee, good. So as an employee, first thing you want to look at is probably you are using the resources of the office. They pay you your salary, right? Whatever it is you are doing during that time is office work. So anything you are doing within your office hours is you can't take it as an your own side work. It's definitely for your office. And generally, what the IP law says about employee employer is whatever you do under your employment belongs to your employer. Now, there are different aspects to it. Let's say, for example, you are employed to design, you are employed to create graphic designs, but along the line, probably you invented something that has to do with design, right? Your company can still come and say, oh, they own part of it because you invented this thing using the office hours, using office resources, their Wi-Fi, their library, their this, their that. Now, in a case whereby you can actually prove that, oh, you didn't use any office resources and what you are doing doesn't tally with what you are employed to do, you could have your right. But as long as what you are doing falls under the what's it called now, the confines of your agreement to do, work with in that office, then you don't have a say. It definitely belongs to the office. And even when you live there, you can't take it as your own because you already signed an agreement that says that whatever you do belongs to the company. I hope that answers your question, Naomi.
You can unmute your mic or send a text.
So mostly I should focus on my own personal work being IP. Yes. So this is where it comes in. As a creator, if you are a freelancer or you are an individual contractor, whatever it is you create can be protected and you can also license it out to other people. But in most cases, people like to own exclusive rights. Now, but when you know that, yes, you have IP on what you are doing, it allows you to be able to charge more. Let's say, for example, you are a photographer and you want to take this photograph of maybe let's say Messi or Ronaldo for a particular billboard work. Yeah. When you know that that work is going to be commercialized, you are going to charge more. So that when you see that work on billboard, you won't be paying to say, ah, if I had known, I would have charged more. When you charge more, you'll be satisfied, even if there's no royalty or whatever coming back to you. You already know that I charged the amount I wanted for this job. But when you charge lower and you see that work out there making rounds, make people are making money from it, but you that actually did the work, you're not making money, it will be a sad case for you, right? So most times you need to understand what is this work, what is it being used for, Who owns the right? Do I have IP over it, or do I not have IP over it? That's why you have to be able to identify. Before you are able to protect, you should be able to identify the aspect of IP in your work. Is it copyright? Is it trademark? Is it trade secrets? Then when you are able to identify, you now know what next. Is it an IP that can be protected? If it's an IP that can be protected, okay, how then do I protect it? So these are questions that you need to be able to answer as a creator. I hope that answered your question. So somebody said, I want to ask question on how to protect my content beyond watermarking as TikTok. Random X users do download my content on TikTok and post on X where they are paid for the engagement generated by the content. Meanwhile, I wasn't compensated. Thank you very much for this question. So I want to believe that you have a name, like you have your handle on X or on TikTok. Now that handle serves as your trademark. It serves, when I say trademark, it means a mark that identify you as a trader, or a mark that you use in trading. We might believe that because we are content creators, I'm creating content, you feel you are not trading. You are also trading. You are trading your content for other people to see, and that trading is giving you back visibility, is giving you back followers. It's trading. So the first thing first is you should be able to trademark that name. Register that name as a trademark. Protect it. Now, once you protect that name as a trademark, instead of you just watermarking your TikTok with any random image or name, you put your trademark name, put it on your TikTok image, TikTok video. Now, because of you've put your trademark on it, anybody that uses that image or uses that video will download it with your trademark. And if they try to crop it out, you can prove it that, oh, this is my image. I have the picture with me. I have the video. And you can sue them or ask them to pay you for whatever it is they are doing. So the first thing is you should be able to own ownership to it. Can you prove that it is yours? If you're able to prove that it is yours, then fine, you are good to go. But if you are not able to prove that it is yours, that's where the issue comes in. And that's why I mentioned originality. Originality is very important. Make sure that it's original to you. And like I said, your copyright is automatic protection, but make sure that it is original. It is fixed. You can prove that, yes, I own this video. I shot it. This is my video. This is when I did it. Even the timestamp will say that you did it yourself, and you can put your trademark on it as your watermark. I hope that answers. How do you don't trademark the video, you trademark the brand name, like your X name, the name you use on your social media. That's what you trademark. And it's that trademark name that you put as watermark on your video. The video is copyright, not trademark. I hope that answers your question. Someone said, knowing how creative your mind is, can one trademark oneself as an intellectual property? It's possible. If you look at the slide I shared earlier, you see the image of Sabinus. That particular image is protected. That's why if you see some of these footballers or basketballers, their legendary sign, Ronaldo, is it Ronaldo? Yes. No, is it Ronaldo? Yes. The Ronaldo seal position is trademarked. This guy's Michael Jordan, is basketballing style is trademarked. So you can trademark things like that. Your image, an image of you, maybe a caricature image of you that you use all the time. You can actually trademark it, because one thing about trademark is use. You have to continue using it. The moment you stop using it, then it can be taken away from you. You have to continue using it. So you can do that. If my design incorporates AI generated elements, do I actually own IP? The question will be, what is the amount of AI generated elements you have in whatever it is you are doing? Which one is higher? The AI generated element, or your original, or your own original design? Most times AI generated elements, or AI itself, they are not protected, because it has to be something that is genuine. And we know that AI, what does AI do? AI work with other people databases from different places, join this and this and this together. So in most cases, it's not always original. Yeah. So the question is, to what extent? What is the higher chance that this thing I've done as an iota of creativity in it. So that's that will be the response to your question. Someone says, if someone reposts my entire TikTok or YouTube comedy skits on their own monetized page, how do I trigger an instant legal takedown? Majority of all these platforms have a takedown order, and I think YouTube is very serious with theirs. Majority of you you've seen that this lady Bimbo Ademoye, she has issues with videos being taken down because somebody else claimed right to it. So yes, you can use those takedown orders. Or those Instagram, I think I'm not sure about X because there was a time X themselves was sued indirectly because of their users use people IP. So most of these platforms have takedown order. You can use that takedown order to report someone that is using your image or your videos without your permission, especially when they are monetizing it. You can report and the post will be taken down. Um, if a company based in the US or UK steal my content, this is a very important question. Can the Nigerian Copyright Act help me sue them internationally? This takes me back to the issue of Bimbo Ademoye when she uploaded, um, I can't remember the movie now, on YouTube. Then a Ghanaian went ahead to pick the video and put it on his own YouTube and started monetizing it. Now, when it comes to copyright, I had mentioned earlier that copyright is automatic protection. You necessarily don't have to register a copyright. As long as your video or your content or your book, those classes I mentioned, those six categories, whatever you are doing that falls within that classic categories, as long as it's original and it's fixed, you have automatic copyright protection. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I said copyright doesn't require registration. There is a general, we are going a bit deep now when it comes to intellectual property. Each aspect of IP have their own convention. Now, copyright is under the Berne Convention. And when it comes to Berne Convention, the Berne Convention protects every country who are members of the Berne Convention. So you are expected to reciprocate. What this means is that if US is a member of the Berne Convention, Nigeria is a member of the Berne Convention, whatever is protected in Nigeria is expected to be automatically protected in the US. That's what the Berne Convention says. But these days, each country now have their own laws. Okay, each country, for example, now in the US you cannot claim damages if you don't have your copyright registered. So imagine a country like the US whereby you can't claim damages unless you have your copyright registered. You cannot say that because of the Berne Convention says that Nigeria and US are members of Berne Convention, then US should now take enforcement of your copyright. No, for US you have to register. So these things are very dicey. So the best thing for you to do is look at the country that require registration and register if you need to. Don't register for registering sake. Make sure that whatever it is you are doing, there is a value attached to it. If it's not bringing you value, there's no point for you to register it. So you have to look at it critically before you go ahead to do that. So what I'm trying to say is that each country, IP is territorial in nature. Whatever you protect in Nigeria stays in Nigeria. Whatever you protect in the US stays in the US. There was um this Ugomonye design that was showcased in, I think it was the Coming to America. I can't remember. I think that was the movie. But that case didn't escalate further because at that time, Ugomonye had only protected his design in Nigeria. Now, the copyright, the image of that work in Nigeria, and it didn't extend to the US or the UK. So he couldn't even sue them. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that IP is territorial in nature. If you have a market in another country, on that jurisdiction, try as much as possible to protect it in that jurisdiction so as to avoid story that touches. Someone says, when Netflix or Amazon Prime asks for my content, what is the best way to structure a license deal instead of selling my copyright completely? Well, when it comes to selling your IP, this is where IP valuation comes in. IP is very broad. You can't just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to sell my IP for 10 naira. You should be able to value that IP and see, okay, how much is my IP today? How much value is it going to attract in the next so years? This will help you determine how much you should sell or how much you should license or how much royalty you should ask. It's not a one-way thing, right? You need to be able to value your IP to know the value, and that way you are able to put a place on the amount of money you want to put on it. We have so much questions to answer, and I have about few minutes left. A local clothing brand copied my digital illustration onto their t-shirts without my permission. What immediate legal step can I take? First thing first, can you prove that you own it? As a creator, do you have anything to show that I created this? Because that's the first point of contact. Show me a proof that you actually did it. If you have a proof, yes, you can go ahead to, go ahead to reach out to them. And most times we go about it wrongly. We always want to sue. But the question is, why do you want to sue? It's not because of money. So if there is a way you can negotiate with these people and still get the money, then why are you suing? So the first thing that should come to mind should not be suing. The first thing is, okay, how can we settle this amicably such that each party can benefit? You can decide to reach out and say, okay, fine, this is my work and you've used it. I want to license to you. Let's find a common ground instead of me suing. But if they're now proving hard to get or proving stubborn, then fine, you can now proceed to sue. But you should also understand that suing comes at a cost. You're also going to spend money. So you have to look at it very well. And if you've protected in the first place, you have a say. If you've not protected it, that's another issue, because protection usually comes on a first come, first serve cases. We have a lot of questions, which you might not be able to attend to all. Someone says, I think now I'm lost. I don't know where I stopped. Can I use 10 seconds of a copyrighted video or song in my YouTube vlog under Nigerian law fair dealing? It depends. 10 seconds. From that 10 seconds, is it the important aspect of that video you are taking? All of these things are not straightforward. We have to ask critical questions. There's something called the diminished theory. Are you taking the important aspect of that video in that 10 seconds? That's one question you have to ask yourself. But like we know, under fair dealing, it allows you to use something without infringing on somebody's right. But the amount of work is very minimal. But when you are making money from it, if it's a monetized YouTube page, you might have issue with it. But if the page is for educational purpose, newscasting and all, you might not have issues. And if you can prove that the amount of the minutes or the seconds you are taking is very, very minimal to the whole video itself, then you can go scot-free. Mr. Alford, I think you have to come in at this point. We have a lot of questions and we are out of time. What do we do?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, we have to try to be disciplined. Allotted time is an hour 30 minutes, 6:30 to 8 p.m. So we don't take too much time from people who have committed time. So what we'll do is that, like I mentioned earlier, um, you can drop these questions. We have a community. Sadiq will share the link, and I will speak to Mrs. Amusa to join us so she can answer technical questions that I may not be able to answer in the group. So once again, thank you very much, everyone. I'd like to and thank you, Mrs. Amusa, for a very, 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 very interesting session. Look forward to having you again. So over to you, Sadiq. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So the link to our community has been shared. The link to our WhatsApp community has been shared in the chat box. You can, if your question is not hard, I mean, we expect everybody to join because a lot of information are being passed there. A lot of things are going to help you on your journey to on your journey to um on your journey to actually like make your creativity meet the wealth aspect, which is the money. which still transcends to our name, which is Creative Money Africa. So I want everyone, I've shared the link again in the comment section. Everybody can join there. And I think our speaker for today is also going to join us in the community. So you can always ask your questions. The ones that are not answered yet, they are going to be answered in the community. So thank you very much for joining us. A very big thank you to everybody who joined us last week and also showed up today. Really appreciate you joining us today. And those who newly joined us today, we really appreciate your time. And we also look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, same time, by 6:30 to 8 p.m. That by next week, you get an email that's going to notify you about it. So kindly join our community to further the discussions. Thank you very much. And
Thank you very
also,
much. So I just dropped my handle. So if you would like to get some more idea, I am actually of IP. You can follow me on Instagram, the Tangible Nuggets. On LinkedIn, I'm Osa Shukrat. And we also have an IP academy called DINIPA. That's the Tangible Nuggets Intellectual Property Academy. So you can do that.
also, I mean, how many of us would like to note those who joined us last week and that are all also here? Please, can you indicate in the comment section if you're here with us last week and you're also here with us today? Can you please notify us in the comment section? Let's see those who are with us. Okay, Miss Naomi, she said she joined us last week and she's also here today. Okay, Mr. Moses. Miss Naomi, Miss Naomi, she has been very active in the community. We were like, she's very, very active in our community. Also, okay, Miss Shalom said she was here last week. Really appreciate you. And I hope and believe last week and this week is actually worth your time. And we promise you every session is going to be worth your time. Okay, can we have more people who joined us last week? And is okay, Miss Melissa, she said she joined us last week and she's also here today. Thank you very much for joining us again. Is there any other person here who joined us last week and is also here today? Okay. The webinar has come to an end because it's meant to be 1 hour, 30 minutes. So join the community if you haven't joined. And then we'll see you in the community. Also don't forget to tune in for next week's session. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you in the community.